Welcome Minister Marcus Ross. It's a blessing, y'all. We have to keep pressing. We have to not be so depressing, y'all. Y'all, God is a lamp unto our feet. We have to be able to have this planted, y'all. We have to acknowledge God in all our ways. We have to be able to realize that God is taking us out of this disguise. He's getting this mask off. Y'all, we have to get on the trough. We have to climb higher, y'all. We have to be able to climb up instead of looking like a chump. We have to be able to get out of the boat. And we have to be able to cross the shore. We need to not look like no whore, y'all. We need to actually adore God for who He's called us to be, y'all. We have to be able to continue on this press, getting out of this darkness, y'all. Disposing the darkness for the light to be able to have its place so we can see God's face, y'all. Hear it. Too many of y'all have the mark behind you. You need to have the mark in front of you so you can see how to remove that mountain. You need to be able to see how to get to the table of gladness, y'all, and the table of happiness. Where there's happiness, there is hope. Where there is hope, there's the coming of God before you. Too many folks don't want to hear that. Too many folks want to be their own God. Once again, y'all, they want to serve themselves and they want to call their shots for their own self-ownership, of their own self-pleasure, y'all. God says He wants you all to Himself. He doesn't want you to yourself, because if you leave yourself to yourself, you're going to lean to your own understanding. And how are you going to be able to level up to God's understanding if you only want to accept your own understanding? Y'all, we need to take a step forward instead of taking a step back. Because every time you hear about God, you take a step back because you feel like you want to stay in the devil's trap. Y'all, if we stay in the devil's playground, he's going to make your head be like a whirlwind. You're going to still go like a merry-go-round that goes back and forth. And you're going to be like that pendulum that goes back and forth, not knowing which direction to sit on. Y'all, if you continue to sit on the fence, you're going to continue to commit a penalty offense. How is God going to be able to move in your life if you don't even move? How is God going to be able to propel that car for you if you continue to just dismantle its functions and instead feel like you just got punched and not know how to gain endurance to make that punch your all? Y'all, we need to stop becoming the pit that goes down to make a fall, y'all. We need to be happy with the weaknesses that we bestow, because God will be able to strengthen us from our weakness. For my grace is sufficient, made perfect through weakness. We need to stop, again, letting imaginations take over. We need to stop letting imaginations come up with an identity and a name, because if we continue to have this a part of our agenda, then we are not going to be able to keep a heavenly agenda. We're going to come equipped with no ammo. We're going to start to run, but then drift off because we ran out of gas. And then next thing you know, we're going to become last. Y'all hear it. Being hooked on draft picks and how many rings a sports player has, will cause your ship to sink. Too many of y'all are so caught up in worldliness. You are so centered on NBA stars. But what about God? What about what God has to say about all of this? Sport players aren't going to be able to help you make it into heaven if they are all into materialistic things, y'all. This is what demons like to see. They like to see you bound up in the chains into thinking that you can be a part of the Hall of Fame of tradition of men. In other words, he likes that you're into the entertainment business, because now you're not about the Lord's business. So what you're doing is you're serving the world. You're having no part of the table of the Lord. Instead, you're serving the cup of devils, y'all. I want to start off right now. I feel like God is calling me to go to 1 Corinthians, because I'm going to tell you that verse, what it means, and how I'm going to incorporate it and plant it into the harvest for you to understand. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 21 reads, "Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils." And I'm going to actually rewind. I usually don't, but I'm going to rewind back to verse 20. "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils." So God's making it plain. Why are you hanging out with these so-called, even these so-called churches, y'all, that are full of false prophets and ministers? Y'all, Satan is good at disguising himself as an angel of light into regular human bodies. Y'all, when you serve the world, you serve a lie. You watch Satan ride horseback on lies to be able to give you a strong delusion of disguise, to make you put that mask on that brings on fear and that brings on anxiety. And anxiety for itself is a sin, y'all. This is a divine standard that the devil lives on. He's full of this fake-it till you make it lies that brings you a dangerous surprise. And y'all, we need to flip the script. Y'all, you need to be able to flip your worldly pre-existing status to a godly status that reflects God's character, and be conformed to how many soul rings you won to Christ. That's what you need to be concerned about. You need to be concerned about how many sheep have you won to the shepherd that God uses as a vessel to Christ, known as the pastor. But instead, folks want to lose souls. Don't you know, for what profits a man if he loses his own soul? Like, what profits him? It profits him nothing. How, if a man gains the whole world but loses his own soul? God is saying, you fool, how can you sell yourself short and sell yourself to the devil and get on his level when I've already warned you more than once in multiple scriptures on how to get these dimples from off you? But instead, folks, they don't want to hear the truth. The truth is not predicated on how you feel and on emotions. You need to stop accepting your own truth of how you define truth. And you need to redefine your terms with God. And you need to let God remove these blemishes so he can establish you by the root of what his truth means. You need to stop having all this fake imaginary thinking going through your mind, and you need to have it rewind. You need to rewind that tape out of mischief. You need to be able to dispose of it so much that you'll be willing to dispose it. Okay, we're going to move along here now. I'm going to give you some worldly examples of what I'm talking about. Because there's so much worldliness around the world, They got worldly movies that people still constantly watch that they don't realize they're driving themselves to hell because it has a lot of devilish-like movements and characteristics in there. But folks don't care. Avengers. I'm sure you all heard about the movie Avengers. The cover guy is half human and half robot. I'm a robot. And I'm sure you remember iRobot. The Incredible Hulk in the back that represents the Nephilim, or the big giant from the book of Genesis. Y'all, this is demons. Nephilim, the big giant. This goes all the way back to Genesis, whenever the giants had sex with the daughters of men. The daughters had given themselves to fornication to the giants. The man's robotic gear is demonic. Y'all, Satan is presenting you a lie and you're buying it. You're buying the lie. You're asking yourself to get fried in that frying pan, y'all. The devil is giving you his agenda and it's like you're buying every bit of it. His mission is to turn you into an electroconductive being, into a battery. And folks are like, I'm flattered. I want to get gladder because I love destruction. And God's the God of, well, I guess you're going to love when you have to give an account for how you destroyed your soul. And how this can drive you to the gates of hell. Y'all, here, let me go to another scripture. So I'm going to tell you what God really feels about the world and how he really truly hates it. 1 John chapter 2 verse 15 reads, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." In verse 16, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world." Y'all hear it. The Father is not in you, meaning the Creator. When you love the world, you love its false gospel. You love the falsehood devices that it brings to the table, to where you were on a parachute and now you got shooken up. You were supposed to land in a certain place and now you're in the face of another because you got controlled by another medium. Such as spirits, y'all, evil spirits that aren't supposed to be controlling you. It's like you're a puppet on strings. The puppet master is like, do this, and you do it because you're authorized. You authorized it to have that control in you. Y'all, the devil is just playing you up to its standards. Y'all, you cannot serve the father of the devil and the Father of God. I've already clarified that in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 21. Y'all, there's only one choice to choose from. You can either serve the father of this world, such as Lucifer himself, or Father creator such as God. Those are your only options, y'all. You only have to choose one option. Movie screamers. You have the red-eyed Lucifer on the cover. You have the spider coming out of the guy's mouth. The sun represents hellfire. Y'all, when you watch this, it's like you're telling yourself, I'm just ready to just give up my soul right now, because all I want to do is just continue to be mesmerized into this whirlwind, into this pit. And you're going to continue to get hit. You're going to continue to get hit. People want to continue to be misled and defeat, and they don't want to hear what the Lord has to say that can get them in the right accord. Folks just be like, well, I just want to live my own way, and I just want to go out and play. God's a God of doing again like Israelites did in evil on the side of the Lord. Just want to rise up to play, serve all their gods, just like they served the golden calf. We'll see who will have the last laugh in hell, where there be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Y'all, we have to lose our life so we can save it in heaven, y'all. 1 John 3 verse 13. We'll close out here. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. And when God says marvel not, he's saying, don't be surprised if the world hates you. Because what Jesus is referring to is, the world hated me first. They made me out like I was the worst when I wasn't. In the world, your mind gets cloudy. There's no love of God that shines like the stars from heaven. You start becoming leavened bread, where the leaven will leaveneth the whole lump. You start to feel like a chump, because next thing you know, your heart's falling in the dumps. Y'all, when you look in the mirror, you see what kind of tree you are. The fruit of the righteous is the tree of life. A wise man wins souls.